this is Interstellar Warrior. In this video I want to talk about Thomas the Train. A beloved train, known from the books, television series, the toys, but of course in this reality he's known as Thomas the Tank Engine. But from my old Earth, where I'm from, the reality I'm from, he's known as Thomas the Train, and I'm sure many of the natives of this current reality are going to say he's always been Thomas the Tank Engine, and that's true for them. But for me, it's not true. I mean, I've known him as Thomas the Train for many years before this reality shift. At first, I wasn't going to make this video, but my son suggested it because he actually had a debate with a classmate at school as to whether this train is called Thomas the Train or Thomas the Tank Engine. My son remembers him as Thomas the Tank Engine, but his classmate remembers him as Thomas the Train, as do I. So I did a little research on Thomas the Train and found some residual evidence. And I'm going to show you a few examples because I don't want to make this video too long. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a little background about Thomas the Tank Engine, aka Thomas the Train. I'm going to read this for you before I show you my examples. Thomas the Tank Engine is a small fictional steam locomotive in the Railway series books by the Reverend Wilbert Awdry and his son, Christopher. He became the most popular character in the series and is the title character in the accompanying television spin-off series, Thomas and Friends. And this article here from the San Diego Union Tribune, all aboard with Thomas the Train. But in the subtitle, explore the rails with Thomas the Tank Engine and his friends at the San Diego Model Railroad Museum. I see a lot of this where some residual evidence stay behind in this current reality. Like here, you know, Thomas the Train is in the title, but in the subtitle, Thomas the Tank Engine is there. So it's coexisting here. Here's an image of him. The storybook characters who departed the depot 71 years ago with the very first book of the series. The three railway engines will bring a host of locomotive adventures to the museum. So he's been around for 71 years apparently. Here in this current reality known as Thomas the Tank Engine, but back on old Earth he's known as Thomas the Train for 71 years. I'll go ahead and show you some examples here. Okay, here we have particular newspapers. And in this, on this website here, found some residual evidence. I will scroll down and find it for you. Okay, should be coming up to it pretty soon here. There we go. Take Wednesday's business front, for example. USA Today turned its dot logo into a train car. We're talking about this right here. And further down, I sometimes, not as often as you might assume, find them off-putting or contrived, or like this one, ill-advised. I mean, it looks like something from a Thomas the Train set or something. So this person remembers the train as Thomas the Train, and he's referring to this tanker here on the railroad track. Okay, on to the next example. Okay, here in this next example, it's a newsletter called All Aboard. It's about trains. And on page 13, I found another example for you. Okay. Now 11, Eric was born in Fairbanks. As a toddler, he became fascinated with trains. We started with Thomas the Train and graduated to Lionel train sets, said his mother, Hetty Hume. So here's an example of residual evidence here. This lady remembers Thomas the Train, and her son played with the Thomas the Train sets when he was a child. Okay, moving on to the next example. Okay, our next example here, Iron Spike Model Train Museum. in Washington, Missouri. Here's a little description here. Model trains of all shapes and sizes running all day in the showroom. Also features a Thomas the Train room, research library, and a Boeing Employees Model Railroad Club HO layout. The new interactive train museum has multiple train layouts and special displays to be enjoyed by kids of all ages. So this is a train museum and they know all about trains. So this is not a typo here. This is not a mistake. This is how they remembered it in the original reality on the old Earth. They remembered Thomas the Train. So this is no mistake here. This is some residual evidence left behind. On to the next example. Okay, I found another example here on Yelp, Discovery Children's Museum in Las Vegas. Someone left a comment down below here concerning that. Displays and activities, there's tons to do, different themes on every level, from water play to science to health education, etc. There's also a designated section where they can change the display periodically. They once had Thomas the Train, which we loved. So this person remembers Thomas the Train. On to the next example. Here's another example I found in this newsletter, Cherokee One Feather. Annual Travel Picnic. I'll show you what I found in this particular one. Okay, Thomas the Train. Take a 25-minute train ride with Thomas the Tank Engine while visiting the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad in Bryson City, North Carolina. So another example of some residual evidence left behind along with our current reality. Because we have Thomas the Train here in the title, but in the little article, Thomas the Tank Engine. Okay, moving on. I found another example here on Yelp, Isaac Walton Inn. I'll show you what I found in the comments section there. It was fun to drink and play board games downstairs at the inn. Our daughter played the piano while some other people sang along. Good memories of that. She also brought some of her Thomas the Train toys and really enjoyed standing on the bridge while the train went underneath. So this little girl had actually had Thomas the Train toys. And her parent remembers vividly as well. So another example of residual evidence left behind. Okay, so those are the examples I found for you guys. I'm going to enable the comment section for those of you who remember this train being called Thomas the Train. Looking forward to hearing your comments. I will talk to you soon. This is Interstellar Warrior. Peace out, people.